What's going on, everyone? My name is Security Denied, and welcome back to the Average Gamer's Perspective on this Dev Insight blog post, Renegade's Armor Tuning Preview. I was expecting it yesterday, because last week they did Tuesday, but I guess they needed a little bit more time with this one, but hopefully it's good. So let's just get right into it. Hello from the rewards team. Today we're on to the second of our 3 sandbox preview articles for Renegades. This time focused on exotic armor changes. We have a selection of exotics to talk about that we have given a bit of love to match with the upcoming new artifact in Renegades, which we'll preview in a later This Week in Destiny article. Let's get to it. Hunter Exotics, my babies. My babies, let's go. Graviton Forfeit. I have never used this exotic in my whole life. Hopefully the changes that they make will at least do something to make Void builds, at least this specific niche of Void build, usable. Graviton Forfeit was once a workhorse exotic in Destiny 1, but has struggled to find value in Destiny 2, especially after Void 3.0, with how abundant access to invisibility is nowadays. We've shifted this exotic into a kill streak / invis streak exotic that changes up your neutral game as you fade in and out of invisibility. Now grants improved grenade melee and class ability recharge rates for a modded duration each time you become invisible. Effect stacks up to 3 times. Effect time does not deplete while you are invisible. At 3 stacks of the buff, successive triggers additionally grant a portion of overshield. Okay, so your goal is to hop in and out of invisibility, and every time you do, you get a buff to your ability recharge rates. And while you're invisible, the time doesn't deplete, so you want to stay invisible longer. And then each time you rebuff yourself or re-trigger the ability, you get a Void Overshield, so you're going to stay alive longer. I think that's pretty good. I think it gives a little bit of survivability and boosts your abilities for Void. I think the only thing that stops me from using Void is the fact that we only have 1 melee ability. Just 1. And it's been how long since Void's been a thing? Since the Taken King? And we still have yet to have any other Void melee builds? I think that's what Destiny needs. Like, they touch on a bunch of different abilities. They've added several new grenades. They've added different class abilities for different classes, but no melees. I don't know what it is about not adding melees. They just don't want to dip into that. And I wish they would, especially for Void, because the Void melee is kind of dog. But this does seem like it'll buff quite a bit of survivability in some certain Void builds. Omnioculus, another Void exotic. Given the success of other more support-centric exotics, we're leaning Omnioculus into a more potent support role to allow hunters to fill in a bit of that more selfless fireteam role. Granting the effects of Beyond the Veil to allies now starts their health and shield regen. This only applies to allies and not to the hunter themselves. Shax is watching. That's fair. Omnioculus used to be a menace in the Crucible, but this is good that it doesn't buff the person, the hunter, wearing Omnioculus, but everyone else gets benefited from the hunter using it. So I think that's a good change. Lucky Raspberry. I get so many of these exotics randomly when I pop open exotic engrams, but never touched arc bolt grenades, like pretty much ever. Lucky Raspberry and arc bolt grenades, for that matter, have been out of the limelight for a long while now due to their general slowness and low damage. We've done a pass over both arc bolt grenade itself and Lucky Raspberry to help with some of their consistency issues, as well as bring them into today's build crafting options. I'm excited. Let's see what they've got. Arc bolt grenade ability. Increase projectile lifetime of chain projectile. This helps it hit consistency on moving targets that are near the outer edge of the chain range. Now activates 0.1 seconds faster than the initial sensor sweep from 0.6 to 0.5. Increased max chain range of the initial chain from 7 meters to 10 meters. That sounds pretty good to me. It sounds like it's going to hit faster, with a little bit more range as well to hit more targets. So that sounds pretty good. Now for the exotic armor. Now always applies Jolt on Arc Bolt Grenade hits. Returns Arc Bolt energy on any application of the Jolt debuff or triggering that Jolt chains on a target already affected by the debuff. That's great because it opens up a little bit more arc builds into your aspects or your fragments that you can slot in. Because there's one that says all of your grenades jolt targets, but now you can switch that out for something else for a different ability that you might be using, since this exotic just now grants your arc bolt grenades jolt just because. So I think this opens up a lot of arc builds, especially for those of you guys who love the arc bolt grenades. I have never used them, but I might give it a shot. A shot now that it might be coming back. And it sounds like the artifact is going to be leaning more into the void slash arc right now. I wonder if they're going to have a darkness as well, or if it's just going to mostly be void and arc. Orpheus Rig. Alongside some ability changes coming with Renegades, we've also adjusted how Orpheus Rig benefits Shadow Shot. Look forward to more on the abilities in our upcoming Dev Insight article. Increase super duration from 16 seconds to 20 seconds. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Gemini Jesters. As mentioned in our Renegades weapon tuning article, Gemini Jester has been updated to use the new universal disorient verb. To keep the debuff effects versus players as similar as possible, we gave it some adjustments that should help it feel nearly identical to how it was prior, if not slightly more effective. We also gave it a small bump in duration against PvE combatants. Increased disorient duration against players from 0.5 seconds to 1 second. In addition to applying disorient, misdirection also removes opposing players' HUD for 2 seconds. Increased disorient duration against PvE combatants from 2 seconds to 3 seconds. Interesting. Very interesting. I'm excited to see how this new disorient verb plays into a lot of builds. It sounds like it could be pretty effective in PvE and a little bit in PvP as well. I know that blind sucks in PvP, but I'm interested to see more on what disorient does as well. Titan Exotics. I don't know these ones very well, so I'm excited to learn what changes they've got. Arbor Warden. Arbor Warden hasn't managed to find much of a niche since its introduction to the game. We've made some changes that will let players more aggressively claim space using the Baronades with good planning. Picking up 3 Orbs of Power enhances your next Baronade. Enhanced Baronade spawns a Y pattern of 3 of your equipped barricade on Baronade detonation. This does work with barricade modifications like Dranger's Lash or Storm's Keep. Interesting, interesting. That could be very cool, especially for clients who love using their barricades. This gives a little bit more build opportunities with, especially Storm's Keep and Dranger's Lash. I'm interested to see how it works. Dune Marchers. Dune Marchers have always been a strong choice in the Crucible, but have not had much of a home in PvE. With the introduction of Bolt Charge and Storm's Keep in recent releases, we wanted to expand access to Bolt Charge to other thematically appropriate sources. Dune Marches were a perfect fit. Increase maximum chain count from 4 to 7. Each chain hit now grants 2 Bolt Charge stacks, 3 with the fragment. Glaive melees can now also trigger the chain. So PvP, I know they said that this is to help it in PvE, but I mean glaives are pretty strong in PvP right now. And the fact that it can also trigger the chain gives people a lot more breathability with starting that chain. And you also get bolt charge, because bolt charge in PvP is also nuts. And you're going to be chaining it to pretty much the entire team. So, that's great. That's great news. Ursa Furiosa. Man, do you guys remember when this was like the go-to exotic for Titans? I mean, we used it for the Thorn exotic mission way back when. Because it was just so hard. That Shrieker. What was it? The Song of Savathun? Is that what it was? Was so difficult. You had to have an Ursa Furiosa just to survive. And then your hunters would be on like Golden Gun, Celestial Nighthawk, just to do damage. It was crazy. We're making some lighter quality of life improvements and bug fixes to Ursa Furiosa. In particular, the difficulty of an activity scaled how much each absorbed attack scalar the super refunded, but not the grenade refund, which made that part of the perk feel weaker in easier content. Should now properly gain super energy if damage is blocked while the player has an overshield. Super energy stored is no longer scaled based on enemy difficulty. Super energy refund meter fill rate is doubled in at power activities. Super energy refund meter fill rate is buffed by about 13.6% in minus 40 power activities. That's pretty good. So it's a little more viable in higher end activities. So interested to see how much usage we get out of it. Second Chance. Never heard of this one. In activities without barrier champions, Second Chance can be a bit lackluster. While a second charge of shield throw and applying weaken is somewhat powerful, Sentinel Titan does not have much access to melee energy generation, so it struggles to get much value out of either effect. We're giving it a new lease on life with a shield throw centric gameplay loop that doubles down on the Righteous Defender fantasy. Added, spawns void breaches on shield throw final blows. Grants shield throw melee energy on picking up any void breach. The Sentinel Shield Super's ranged attack shield throw now also weakens with this exotic equipped. Fixed a bug where anti-barrier shield throw melee would not bounce to more than 2 targets. That's a pretty substantial buff, because now you can essentially, if you have the right build, have infinite shield throw if you're hitting enough targets and defeating enough enemies to get void breaches. So I'm interested to see what this is like in higher end content, if it does enough damage to get enough final blows to keep getting your melee back. We're just gonna have to wait and see. Armamentarium. While a second grenade charge is somewhat powerful, it's hard to justify choosing Armamentarium over an exotic that gives ability energy in today's sandbox. We're adding another ability to it that is focused on the armaments and ordnance fantasy that the exotic suggests. Now grants 10% grenade energy on weapon final blow. Now reloads the player's equipped weapon when using a grenade ability. Oh, so that's interesting. That's going to change how DPS rotations work. Because if you're rocking this and, let's say, Thunderlord with Thunder Crash, because that's just a GOAT option always. You just use up all your Thunderbolt, even though you're getting like basically infinite ammo. That time that you do have to reload, just throw a nade, get back to shooting. So I think I'm interested to see how it's going to be used, because you basically get 2 free reloads, because it's double the grenade charge. So you use a grenade, reload, empty your load, throw another grenade, reload, keep firing. So this honestly could have a huge place in the DPS meta if you use it right. So keep an eye on Armamentarium. It could be pretty strong. Lion Rampants. Given the current state of mobility in the sandbox, we thought that Lion Rampant's restriction to only allow hipfire shooting while in lift is no longer necessary. Fly free, fellow Titans. Now allow shooting while ADS when in lift. Why? Why do Titans just get a fly? Just because Superman is a tanky character and he can fly around doesn't mean that Titans should be able to just fly willy-nilly wherever they want to, okay? I thought that was the hunter's job. Give us some cool mobility stuff too. Huh? I know every hunter's complaining about it, and every Titan's like, oh, little hunter trying to be... Yeah, that's our whole freaking identity, is mobility. We're trying to build our stats into health, resilience, super, and freaking just, the weapon stat, just to be more like Titans. Because that's the meta right now. Mobility? Not Not the meta. So what do they do? Give the tankiest people all the movement. It's going to be great, especially in PvP, when it's hard to freaking kill them, as they're flying all over the place. Let's keep going. Peacekeepers. We wanted to equalize the PK's mobility bonus with other exotics and mods that grant increase to mobility. We also accidentally removed a fan favorite hidden interaction from this exotic when we corrected an audio issue during the Edge of Fate. So we have re-added this interaction. Increased mobility bonus from 25 to 30. Re-added ability to swap load SMGs. Cool. So Peacekeepers, a little bit faster. So a little bit easier to get into that closer range for SMGs. Warlock exotics. I'm interested to see these changes because Warlocks are menaces in PvE and continue to be. Nothing manacles. I've never heard of these exotics, probably because I've played Warlock like twice. Charged and nothing manacles, enhanced scatter grenades have been in an awkward spot for some time due to how much slower they deal damage in comparison to the base grenade. We've made some adjustments alongside those made in 9.1.5 to alleviate some of the inconsistencies. Additionally, Nothing Manacles has gotten a new perk that lets you cascade your scatter grenades and grant some deserved value when paired with Chaos Accelerant. Reminder of 9.1.5 adjustments to charge scattershot grenades. Charge grenade now creates 4 more seekers. Increase charge seeker damage versus combatants by 25%. Improve charge seeker tracking versus combatants. Increase charged seeker lifetime. Charge scatter grenade ability. Faster final projectile speed. Exotic armor. Now spawns additional scatter seekers on scatter grenade kill. This effect can chain. So it's similar to Graviton Lance, where you get a kill, seekers kill other things, spawn more things. I guess it's the same with, what's the Outbreak Perfected? Because I think that one can too, if you get kills with the nanites, that it spawns more nanites. So I think this is good. It gives a little bit more ability to build into your scatter grenades and all those grenade builds out there. Briar Binds. Briar Binds enables a fun and unique playstyle for Void Warlock, but like many kill-oriented exotics, it struggles to scale into higher difficulty content. We've made some adjustments to it to help it build to its maximum benefit quicker and also give a bit more value earlier in its gameplay loop. Now needs fewer kills to max out the Briar Binds. Briar Binds Void Soul damage bonus, decreased to 4 from 6. Additionally, the Briar Binds Void Soul now does more damage based on the amount of time it has been deployed on target, up to 30% more damage after 10 seconds. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. A Storm Dancer's Brace. The potency of Storm Dancer's Brace is almost entirely tied to the power of Storm Brace itself, or Storm Trance itself. In the same way we have some of the other super specific exotics, we've added a bit of neutral play to Storm Dancers and also a bit of quality of life to its damage bonus to help it scale better in today's sandbox. While Storm Trance is equipped, now grants a bolt charge for arc ability hits when amplified. Storm Trance damage bonus now builds on hits instead of kills. Increased max count to compensate. Now needs 30 hits to cap. Top end damage bonus is unchanged. Okay, so it's a little bit easier to use now that it's just on hits instead of kills. So it's a lot easier to get that damage bonus. And now it grants bolt charge while amplified. Good change. Good change. Winter's Guile. Warlocks have a much harder time scaling into melee-centric builds than both Titans and Hunters, rather than updating Winter's Guile to essentially be the newer version of Worm God Caress. But for Warlocks, we decided on a more arcane twist. We ended up with a more Warlock-flavored version of that, incentivizing smart build crafting on how you build and spend the new benefits. A bit more effort, but a very potent reward if you manage to reach Warlord's Rage. Okay. Melee and finisher final blows grant bonus melee damage. Melee's Final Blows grants 1 stack. Finisher Final Blows grants 3 stacks. Max is 10 stacks for 400% melee damage. Stacks are lost 1 at a time, lasts 4.5 seconds. Once you reach 10 stacks, immediately gain 1 melee charge and enter Warlord's Rage when you activate your melee ability. You have 10 seconds to activate the Warlord's Rage. While in Warlord's Rage, gain dramatically increased melee regen speed, gain faster melee speed, melee damage bonus increases to 500%, lasts 10 seconds, lose all stacks once Warlord's Rage ends. That's pretty good. That is the new melee build for Warlocks. Like, this has completely changed the game for Warlocks. Like, all of this, very cool. All of these changes makes me want to go to Warlock now. It just sounds so cool. They're getting all these fancy little changes. Fine, maybe I will. Alright, Metadoxia. Warlocks have long asked for a super damage increasing exotic alongside the likes of Cuirass or Nighthawk. We believe that this is less interesting as an effect for a brand new exotic, and that we could instead offer this as a new piece of pre-existing one. After all, what is Needle Storm if not a bunch of supercharged arcane needles? P.S. Look for more on Needle Storm in the upcoming Renegades Abilities Tuning article. Hitting a target with 5 Needle Storm super projectiles now will also activate the Stylostixis Suspending Burst. The burst caused by the super deals radically increased damage to all targets caught in the radius. This burst should allow Needle Storm to feel like a damaged contender with the likes of Cuirass Thundercrash. Interesting. So now Warlocks have a burst super as well with this exotic. Interested to see the damage testing for it. All right, Dawn Chorus. This one's a spoiler for the next week's abilities tuning article. We're buffing Solar Warlock's Daybreak super damage by 20% and letting Daybreak scorch targets by default. Essentially, we're shifting some of the Dawn Chorus functionality into the base super. The end result is that Dawn Chorus plus Daybreak's damage is being increased by 5%, and the combo will now allow you to cause ignitions with single projectiles. And with our new exotic universal ornaments feature coming Renegades, looking like a bug while doing it is now optional. Daybreak plus Dawn Chorus damage increased by 5%, total scorch stacks increased. Wow. Being able to ignite with a single projectile is going to be really good because you can throw a lot of projectiles. And if you build into ignition damage, that's pretty good. That could be pretty good. Alright, that's all we have for today. Keep an eye out for our next Div Insight article where we will preview the abilities changes coming in Renegades. I'm excited for this one. I'm excited to see the buffs and nerfs because this is ultimately what is going to decide the meta. It does sound like the artifact is going to be Void and Arc heavy. Maybe dipping into Strand as well, giving some of the exotics are a little bit with Strand. Because up here it says we have a selection of exotics to talk about that we have given a bit of love to match with the upcoming new artifact in Renegades. So we'll have to wait and see what the artifact is going to look like. It sounds like it's going to be Void and Arc heavy. A lot of good changes. As a hunter, I think I'm most excited for either Lucky Raspberry or probably just Lucky Raspberry. I don't really and Orpheus Rig. I use those ones because if it's gonna be Void heavy, I'll probably use Orpheus or the new exotic. I think in PvE I'll use Orpheus Rig and then the new exotic for hunters with Overshield. Depending on how good the Overshield is, it might just be PvP, maybe PvE, depending on how good it is. But I am excited to try out the new Arc Bolts that Lucky Raspberry is gonna buff. Now that I can build into not just grenades, jolt targets. So this is exciting. I'm glad that they're making a lot of changes. These are all good changes so far. Let me know what your thoughts are on these exotic armor changes down in the comment section down below. And if you haven't done so already, and you like this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a like if you did enjoy it. And as always, I will see you in the next video. Bye!